Advisor Show. My name is Ellen Rogan, and as always, we have great guests to help you in every area of your life, especially your business. And we have a topic today that may feel like an old topic if you've been in business a while, which is networking.
Mm.
And it's not an old topic, it's a crucial topic because when I talk to advisors and work with them, they want to grow their network with COIs and referrals with clients. And I don't think there's enough being deliberate about this. And especially now in the post COVID world, I think we've forgotten about how to really connect and do this effectively. And we have an amazing guest today, Jennifer Beale, who's a friend of mine who is really the queen of connecting. And just to give you a little bit about her official background, um, she is a secret weapon for her clients and an ace at matching people. So she's so good at connecting. She's such a generous um, person who wants to make connections for people and does it very effectively. She cuts through the networking confusion so that you can build the right connections fast. And we're going to talk about like right connections and what
Mm.
that really means. Because sometimes I see advisors just wasting a little bit of time. Not that it's a waste of time to connect with people, but being maybe a little bit strategic about connecting in their businesses. She's an award winning networker. Who knew you could be an award winning networker? And her connections have helped hundreds of business professionals, including people in financial services, earn millions of dollars. And she gave me this example of one professional landed a $135,000 deal in less than 14 days, and another event that she was responsible for landed a $4 million finance deal, and another earned 66,000 in 1 week. Who does not want that? I think we all would love that. She's led workshops, trainings, interactive keynotes at Staples. She's from Canada, Canada Board of Trade, networking groups, and she's a brilliant thought leader in this area of connecting. So, Jennifer, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here to talk about networking and how people can connect to get more clients. Ultimately, I think that's what we want, more support in our businesses so that things flow for us. And networking is one of the best. I mean, there's mountains of evidence that show that if you have a network, then you are going to have more support. You're going to be more productive. You're going to get clients faster. And when you get the right people that are around you, you actually will be more productive because you are being supported, and you will be getting hits of dopamine that actually in your brain make you feel better so that you can get more done. And you talked about how your network may be an old topic. It's not like I'm going to come and tell anything new, but I don't think that we're looking for a new way to network. What works really best is going back to ancient ways of being human being. What I talk about is going back to who we really are. And we are social beings, and we need people to be okay. And it's so easy with technology to get disconnected. And certainly the pandemic helped us become more disconnected from people from, face to face.
So, talk a little bit more when you say right network, having the right network of people, what you mean by that.
Yeah, what I find is there's like three problems people face when it comes to networking. Number one is people will say, hey, I'm trying the networking thing and I'm not getting clients, or I'm not getting referrals. And typically when people aren't getting referrals, there's kind of like these three scenarios. People agree to give referrals and then nothing happens, right? Or you agree to give referrals and you give referrals and then the person doesn't reciprocate, and that doesn't work well. Or you agree to give referrals and you do exchange some referrals, and then it kind of fizzles away and people are kind of left, what's going on? Why is this not working for me? And there's a lot of confusion around follow-up, like how do you do, are you not, like, some people don't want to bug people. They don't want to, impress on people or feel like they're stalking them. At the same time, though, we need to be connecting with people in some kind of follow-up way, and we need to find a way to do that. And then, the third thing I hear is people saying they just don't have time. In fact, the statistics are showing about 50% of professionals will say they just don't have time for networking, yet they know it's really important. And so what I say is consider that out in the network, there's 5 different types of people that you're going to meet. And so the first are people that really don't want relationships. I call them soloists. They're kind of doing business by themselves and they prefer it that way, and that's fine. And they're probably really good at doing digital marketing and social media marketing and creating content, and that stuff all takes a lot of time. So they wouldn't have time for relationships anyway. And then there are the people that are the networkers, and networkers tend to be the people that they go out and network for their own personal gain. So they're building, and that thing, your network is your net worth, and they're out there. They want to build a network so that they have people that can further their career. And we know from the studies that networking does help people with their careers. And I've sort of noticed there's two types of networkers out there. There are people that are quite transactional, and they're the people that once they get what they want, they kind of go. So if somebody's just coming in and they just want to get what they want and then go, they're not going to make a good partner. They're not going to make a good strategic partner for somebody to do more with. And on the other side of it would be people who are very relational. And relational people are the type of people that believe, hey, if I'm just nice enough to everybody, people are going to give me opportunities. They're going to send me clients. They're going to give me referrals. And unfortunately, that doesn't work out. That doesn't work either. And so my way of thinking is, what if we take the best of both sides, kind of like kick butt, make it happen kind of transactional people, and these nice relational giving people, and we were to bring the best qualities of both, and we were to take those and go out into the networking world, we would become more of a connector, or a transformational connector is what I like to call it. And a transformational connector has a network, and they're different than the networkers because what they do is they actually start matching people up. They're the ones that start giving referrals. So you're with one, right? When you're in a room and somebody goes, hey, Alan, nice to meet you. What do you do? And you tell them, they go, oh my gosh, do you know Trisha across the room? Hold on, let me go and introduce. That's a connector. So you're with the connector when they're doing that. And the networkers, you're with a networker when you say something like, well, what do you want more of? And they go, clients. They want more clients. And so they're just missing that piece of giving more and contributing more. And the relational people what they need is they need to be more reciprocal and be on the receiving end as well. And that's what connectors tend to get going on them. And then once you become a really good connector, then the collaborations will start to happen. And the collaborations are off the chart. And collaborators, what they do is they go into their network, and instead of just matching people up, they go into their network and they start saying, hey, Joe, you do this, I do this. What if we came together and collaborated on this project? What more could we do? Or they could say, I've got this opportunity and I can't do it all myself. I'm just not the provider for all of this. And so they go in their network and they start bringing other people together so that they can do bigger deals with each other. And the beauty in that, Ellen, the beauty in what happens when you start collaborating is that now you've got some glue to keep people together so the relationships form and go deeper. And the deeper the relationship, the longer lasting you have it, the bigger and more that things can happen.
So this, I think, is relating to moving into collaborators, but you had said when you were talking about kinds of ways people network or issues people have, that people agree to refer and they neither don't, or it fizzles. I
Yeah.
want to delve into that a little bit more, like this agree to refer. And maybe over in the past, I've leaned more to be like, I'll be nice if people want to refer to me.
Mm-hmm.
But is that like an explicit conversation? Like, hey, Jennifer, you've got this really great network, like an explicit conversation about, I'll refer to you. Are you comfortable referring to me? And I'm also thinking about advisors who do this a lot with CPAs and attorneys and other centers of influence. Um, yeah, because I don't know that people are always agreeing to that. They may have an expectation.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's a couple of ways to look at this to solve it. Number one is, if you're a connector and a collaborator and you want these long lasting relationships, and you're finding soloists out there, people who don't want relationships, and I mean, who doesn't want to have a referral partnership? Like, Ellen, do you want to exchange referrals? Like, who would say no?
Right.
But will there actually be the delivery of both people reciprocating with each other? So the soloists just aren't going to they just don't make good partners. They don't have the time and they don't have the inclination. So if you can identify when somebody's a soloist and just let them be, that would be a better thing to do instead of trying to spend time making things happen. And the networkers also don't make good partners, because remember, they're building a network for their own personal gain. And so the shift needs to be the transformation from networker up to being connector, and then from connector up into being collaborator. So that's number one, is choose your people wisely. And second, I think, is we develop ourselves. I mean, I'm always developing myself into being a better connector, a better collaborator. I want to learn more and more and more and more. And every collaboration that I do is the ground for learning how to do it better. The second thing, though, is that we can all say, yeah, sure, let's do referral partnerships, or let's form a strategic partnership. And then there's nothing to keep us together. And in business, if we can come up with some collaborations that are profitable, if it's win-win for both people, we're playing above the line on win-win, then now we have motivation to build that relationship. And then from there, it gets more creative. For example, in Toronto, Canada, where I am, I've formed a collaboration this year with Mish McGuire, who runs just a fabulous networking group called Women Growing Empires. I mean, it's just like she's kick butt, brings people together, women who are serious and ambitious, and we're doing a collaboration together. And we've set together that we're each going to make as much money in this collaboration. And so I'm getting referrals from her. Why? Because we're doing so much together, I'm top of mind. So when she meets somebody who I can help, she refers them to me. And second is when I meet people that she can help, then I refer them to her. And so if you can think of it like the glue or the mechanism that holds us together, there needs to be something that brings us together again and again and again and again and again. Otherwise, there's nothing to hold a strategic partnership together other than once upon a time you said, yeah, we'll exchange referrals, but that's not partnership.
Is
That's just, a loose agreement that there's no reason to have to actually, go through on it to hold up to it.
Are there indications whether somebody's a soloist or a networker so that you're not trying really hard to build a relationship with someone who's just never going to be a good end up being a collaborator with
Of that
you?
mindset. Yeah, of that mindset. Yeah, it could be the soloist. Just ask them, how are you marketing your business? Oh, I'm doing lots of content creation. I'm doing lots of digital marketing, lots of social media, lots of things like this. Um, that's sort of an indication of it. I've just noticed they just don't have time. They just like it's not that they're not nice people; they just don't have the time to do it. And these things do take time. And why would we want to invest the time first off? Well, let me tell you a story about David. David was one of my clients, and when I first met him, we had a virtual meeting where he opened up a PowerPoint slide and he started walking me through what he did in his business. And around on the third slide, I said, "You got to stop this." I wanted relationship with him, and that was cold, what he was doing. And so we started a relationship, and he became my client, and I taught him how to have a strategic partnership program where he was very intentional about building relationships with referral partners and collaborators. And David ended up getting, well, at the time, let me tell you, it took David 6 to 9 months to land a client. They would come in around $10,000, $20,000 on the first deal, and he would build them up over time to $100,000 clients a year. So this was big, this was lucrative for him. And one day he got a referral using the approach that I taught him to build relationships. And he got introduced to a very large decision maker of a very large company, and he landed a $135,000 deal in 2 weeks from introduction. Now, you think about that. He's spending 6 to 9 months in a sales cycle with people. Somebody gave him a referral and it closed in 14 days, 2 weeks. Just bring it down. And the second thing to it was instead of coming in at $10,000 or $20,000, it came in at $135,000. Why? Well, because the person who referred him to that person had trust with David and also with the decision maker. And it's the trust that makes the deals go faster. And the other reason for all of that is that somebody had their ear to the ground and knew that this decision maker was looking for somebody like David. Well, the studies show 84% of B2B buyers start their buying process with a referral. Why? Because they don't want to waste money for the company they're with. And so they want a sure deal. And so I think that illustrates why we would really want to do this is because of the size and the time efficiency. And then the beauty it comes out of it in the relationship, really getting to know people and do things with people in business instead of always meeting new people all the time.
So if an advisor is wanting to start a network from scratch, or maybe they've ignored theirs a little bit, what are some suggestions you'd have for them?
Yeah, I think make an intention that you want to have a strategic partnership program. Like you want relationships and just realize you're not going to be able to do it with everybody. And if you have an existing network, then go back in there and activate some of it and just send out, message people and say, I'd like to form strategic partnerships. That's one of the things I'm doing this year. Any interest? Let's jump on a call or let's meet for coffee and meet with that person. And then you can talk about what's going to, transpire, how it's all going to work. And then what you need to do after you've got the yes, because remember, we all get into these, but they go nowhere. If you want to see it actually go somewhere, then I recommend that you start by creating a connection strategy. And a connection strategy helps you figure out like how frequent do you need to connect with this person? What do you need to do to build the relationship? How can you stay in touch like 2 times per month where it doesn't feel weird? It feels very natural and the person's wanting to hear from you. So I would say you want to start reaching, connecting with people in a connection strategy, in meaningful ways, at least 12 to 24 times per year with those people. And then the second thing would be you would want to put together some kind of framework for the conversations you have so that they're meaningful and that they're filled with value for the other person and that they are leading to business development, not just social conversations. And then the third thing is put it into a system. And this will really help the people that say they don't have time to build a network. Because if you have a connection strategy with a framework for your meetings that you're going to have, and you meet with these people frequently enough to build the relationship, you throw this into a system. This takes about 5 to 10 minutes per week to do. Like once it's all put together, this is not time intensive. Meeting with people sure is, and collaborating with them can take some time, but the fruits of the effort are there. You get so much more in a shorter amount of time.
And I'm thinking of two people in my network who've been so good at this that I really see how they leaned in to develop the relationship. There's a
Mhm.
guy, Yasmin, who years ago was on the stream, and I'm sure he'll be back soon. And we met at a conference, a super nice guy. And he followed up, and he's like, hey, let's have a conversation. We talked. And then at the end of that conversation, he's like, I'd love to continue this. Should we set up another meeting for, I don't know, it was 6 weeks later? Years later, I'm still in conversation with him. And I think about how many people maybe I met that I liked at conference and then lost touch with. So much so that he stayed at my house a couple of times when he's been in Chicago.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I'm helping him in his business because I really respect him and love what he's doing. And there's another woman that I recently met this year who did the same thing. And she kept just leaning in a really authentic way,
Mm.
and I'm getting to meet her in person. She's from Dallas. Next week, she's going to be in the Chicago area. So
Mhm.
I love this idea of having a strategy. And I don't know if they had a strategy or that's just kind of how they roll, but
Mhm.
that's such great advice, Jennifer, to have a strategy and to think about how you're adding value so you're not wasting people's time and you're moving everybody's agenda ahead.
Mhm.
It's
And
really
creating
great.
these win-win situations where everybody gets the value. Now, who wouldn't want to spend time with you if you're bringing value into their life of what they want?
Of course. Of course.
Mhm.
Um, so you had kind of teed up a little bit about this idea of how to get people to like you instantly. So I'm curious, what is that?
Yeah. So this whole thing in networking, if you go to the formal networking groups, they have you do like an introduction kind of thing, right? And I don't know about you, but I have so much angst over what am I going to say? And when I'm in that room and they're saying, everybody introduce yourself, I can't hear anybody because I'm angst about what I'm going to say and everything. And so to take away that stress that comes sometimes with walking into a room where there are strangers and you have to make your introduction, one of the things is don't worry about it. Just like don't worry about what you're going to say, but be more aware of are you listening and
Mhm.
take notes and do it. And then go up in the context of what other people have said and have a conversation with them. Hey, you said this in your introduction. I'm really interested. I'm curious to be more about it. So you go with this posture of I'm curious about you, as opposed to I want you to know everything about me, and and then I'll convince you that you want to do stuff with me or whatever. So just flip it around and go and be curious with people. Sometimes walking into a room, I've gone to events where I don't know a soul. So there's a couple of strategies there for people is just look for people who are smiling and go up and talk to people who are smiling. And the work of Dr. Amy Banks is fantastic. There's 4 neural pathways in our brain for connection. We are born with these. We inherited them. It is who we are. We're social beings. And one of them is about acceptance and the mirroring. And so we have all these little mirroring neurons all over our brains. And so when somebody is smiling, it will make us feel good and we'll want to smile. And so find people who are smiling and go up and approach them. And if you are feeling pretty good and you're seeing somebody who's not so smiling or whatever, go up and smile to them. Have a nice smile when you're going up to being with people. People will like you. People will like you if you are open and you're smiling and you're appearing friendly to them. And you're curious and you want to listen to what they have to say and get to know them better. That'll make you an instant friend with anybody.
And I would imagine through that conversation, you'll be able to tell if someone's just a networker, as you call them, because they won't ask anything about you back.
Well, here's the interesting thing. I can tell you many times where I've spoken with people being curious. I have booked appointments with them. They don't know my name and they don't even know what I do. But because the conversation was so juicy for them and they were so interested and wanted to carry it on with me, we pulled out our phones and booked an appointment right on the spot. So,
But don't you think you got the sense if they were just a taker, as Adam Grant says, versus a giver or a matcher? If someone's just like, here's my card, let me know if you know somebody, and just doesn't have any interest in you.
well, that part, yeah, when people are dealing out their cards, to people, as they share. But, if somebody deals out your card, you could say something to me. Thank you for giving me your card. Did you want me to contact you? And if they say, yeah, then say, well, give me an idea of what we'll talk about when I contact you, and why don't you pull out your phone and we'll book an appointment right here now, kind of thing. And so, don't just walk away or I don't take offense to anybody, just sort of probe it a bit and see, is there anything really here? Because sometimes people are they're in a room and they're uncomfortable and they're
Yeah.
defaulting into this other thing as well. So have a bit of compassion with people and open to them. And if they're really like, this is somebody that's not open to anything but themselves, yeah, sure, you don't have to follow through with that.
Yeah. Cool. No, I love that.
Mm,
And I love your giving strategies. It also, I love that you took the pressure off. Like, what's my elevator pitch? How do I, show up in a certain way?
yeah,
Not that it's not important to have a clear way of expressing what you
mm,
do if someone asks you back, but the energy is out on the other person versus self consciousness about ourselves, which
yeah.
can easily happen.
Be that warm, friendly person that people want, like feel engaged with. We got to engage first before we can enroll. And I think the example you gave with somebody just giving their card out to somebody else is they're enrolling before engaging with the people. We want to have connection, be a connector and get that connection. And it warms people up if their skills not so high. But for example, I once got a client in an elevator where I literally had 30 seconds in the elevator with him because I timed it after. We were talking before we got in the elevator. And just before I got off, the person said, what do you do? And I told them, and she goes, I need your services, and gave me her card. And 2 weeks later, she was a client.
Beautiful.
So this whole way of being with people applies anywhere, anywhere, anytime in the world. Like you could be standing in a grocery line. You never know who you're talking with. And just be that connector.
And
Learn that
that
skill of
totally
connecting.
would make sense for
Mhm,
financial advisors. So, how
mhm.
does an advisor measure the return on investment or return on time from networking activities?
Yeah, so with a strategic partner program, start listing the people. And just so people know, you don't need to have hundreds of people, as your partners. I would say, start with one and then build it from there. Everybody has different social capacities for how many people they can have, how much social interaction they want. But if you could get it up, maybe 15 people, 18 people that you had as strategic partners, and you're spending time with those people, then what people can like end up doing when they're building their network. Sorry, back to your question.
Yeah, like how do they know if they're getting a good return on this? So
Oh
I'm
yeah,
either going to networking meetings or I'm taking people out for coffee. Like, how do I
right, right.
know this is
Yeah. So you
effective?
you find these 15, 18 people and you list them and you start tracking. You track how much business you give to them and you track how much business is coming to you. And it's really the 80-20 rule, Ellen. You're looking for the 20% of the people who bring you 80% of the business. And then you're going to go back in and you're going to build those relationships more and more and more and more. So it's clearly identifying who they are, measuring what's coming in from them. And then it would be good to have quarterly or annual meetings, just like you do as a financial advisor with your clients. Go with your referral partners, take them out for a meal and invest in them that way. And then just say, listen, I brought you in $50,000 worth of business this past year, and you brought me in this much. And I want to know what you want to do next year. Do you want to expand this? So it's continuing to have the conversations with people to build them
Yeah.
on a very practical basis of what they want and what you want.
Yeah. So what I so love about what you do, Jennifer, is like you said, you put strategy around this, being
Mhm,
deliberate, and it's coming from such a genuine, generous place
mhm,
versus like, what am I going to get? It's like, how do we do this so everybody's
mhm.
winning? And I think that's a really refreshing approach and practical at the same time. So I
Very
really
much so.
appreciate that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, so great. If people wanna learn more about you, your programs, your training that you have, like what's a good way for people to be in touch with you?
Yeah, I'm very open. People can connect with me on LinkedIn if they want. Just reach out to me. Like I'm very approachable. I love to have chats with people and find out what they want. So if anybody wanted to jump on a call with me, you can go to buildbetternetworks.com and find a time that works for you. And we'll jump on a call. I'll get to know you. You can tell me what's going on, and I can help you strategize who should be in your network and also how you could be connecting, reactivating some of your clients or your contacts that you have, maybe you haven't been in touch with for a while, and how can you put this together so that you'll do it consistently and start to reap the benefits from having long-lasting, lucrative relationships.
I love this. I love it. And for all of you listening out there, go ahead and connect with
Mhm.
Jennifer and she walks her talk. I've known Jennifer for several years now, and she's just a joy to be with. She's so generous and she knows her stuff, which I'm sure you could tell from this conversation today. So I'm
Awesome.
really grateful to have had you on our show today and sharing all this information. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and it's great to have you as a partner.
Yes, yes, yes. And for all of you listening and watching, thank you for being here. Again, my name is Ellen Rogan, and you can learn more about me at ellenrogan.com. And if you go to ellenrogan.com /horse's mouth, you can download my special report, which is What Extraordinary Advisors Know and Others Don't. I have courses that I'm launching. In the fall, we're going to be doing another course with Horse's Mouth. So please reach out to me. You can find me on LinkedIn as well or on my website. And the question to ponder today is how are you strategically building your network and being an amazing collaborator with others? Remember, be great and create great every single day.